In this video, we're going to take a look at how you can fix a broken iPad screen on your iPad 5th or 6th generation. Now you use the CPB to make the adhesive on the screen to go soft, that allow me to easily remove the digitizer. Now if you don't have a heat plate like me, you can use a heat gun or a hair dryer to soften the screen. Now if you are going to use the hair dryer, make sure that you have enough heat on your iPad. So just use your hand, just make sure that it is hot, not too hot because you don't want to burn your iPad, but make sure that it is hot enough so that the adhesive become loose and you can easily remove the digitizer screen. So here I'm just going to put it on my heat plate to soften the glass. Now this is the digitizer that I bought online. They're fairly cheap, around $20 or less depending on where you buy them, and I'm going to use it to replace the broken screen on my iPad 5th generation. It will be the same with the 6th generation. So we're going to start off by trying to peel off the digitizer. I'm going to start off at the top of the screen, top corner, right hand corner. Now if your screen is broken into many pieces like mine, where you can see it's totally shattered, then the best way to do it is to use some kind of sticky tape, placing the sticky tape over the screen. You can see how difficult it is for me to remove without the sticky tape, so I'm going to put some tape on, which helped me to remove it and make my life easier, a lot easier, because when I take it out, then it all stick in one place. So there I have all the tape on, so I can now continue to remove the broken glasses. It's not easy, it can be time consuming, you need to do it slowly. Now if your iPad screen cools down, you need to use the hair dryer to heat it up a little bit more so that the adhesive become soft and loose, so that you can easily take out the glass. Now just be patient and go slowly, you don't want to go too quick. Make sure the razor blade doesn't go too deep in, as you may damage the LCD. So just take your time and go slowly. Just go around the edge at the top. So start at the top first and then work your way down to the home button. Be careful when you're going near the home button, because there is a flex cable running along on the right hand side of your iPad. So if you accidentally cut the home button flex cable, then you will lose the Touch ID and the fingerprint feature. So I'm just gonna go around the bottom left right now and then taking out the broken glasses. So you can see it's come off slowly now. So this is the part where I'm going to slow down, and I'm going to show you there is a flex cable right there on the home button, that where I'm working on right now. So what you want to do is put your razor blade in carefully, so you can see here, don't go in too deep. So go slow and be careful that you don't go too deep. If you go in too deep, you can cut the flex cable. So I cannot stress enough that do not go too quick at this part here. This is where the flex cable run along the home button to the right hand side of your digitizer. So now I'm slowly lifting up the digitizer, and you can see there the home button right there. That's where the home button is. It's running along on the right hand side, so be careful not to break it. I'm going to move some of the glasses out. So I'm just going to use a piece of tissue, wipe off the tiny broken glasses. So you can see right there, there is a black flex cable running along at the bottom of the glass. Now you need to remove the 4 screws on the LCD. So this is the first one, then the second one at the bottom, then at the top you need to peel back the black plastic there, so that is covering up the threads. You need to remove that first, and then we're going to remove the top threads. Again, this one here, pull back the adhesive and then unscrew the threads. And now you can lift up your LCD, so be careful, just lift up slowly. And now that the LCD is standing right up, I'm just going to rotate it around so you can see what's behind this LCD. So let's just turn this one around, and there are 3 threads that we need to remove. So remove the 3 threads, allow us to lift up that metal plate right there. So don't mix up with your threads. And then I'm going to use a spatula to remove this metal plate. So sticking to the metal plate is the flex cable for your LCD. So again, be careful, go slowly and lift up the metal plate. You can see the flex cable connector is attached to that metal plate. So now we have successfully removed the LCD. Okay, next we need to remove the connector away from the iPad. So remove the digitizer connector. There's still one more connector that we need to remove, which is the home button. Now there is an adhesive that we need to peel back. So first peel back the adhesive and save it, because we're going to need to use the adhesive again later on to cover the home button connector. So I'm just going to put it on the battery, and there is a small tab that you need to lift up. So I'm going to zoom in so you can see. Now there is this tab here. Just lift up this plastic tab. It is to lock in your home button connector. So pull out. You can see you can pull out, and that will allow you to free up your digitizer. So now all the connectors is removed. We can remove the digitizer. We can separate it from your iPad motherboard, and there it is. It's all broken, but lucky we have used the tape to tape it up, so now all the broken glasses stick to one place. Next up, we need to remove the home button. Be very careful here. We don't want to break the home button flex cables. That will render the home button useless, and you will no longer be able to use Touch ID on your fingerprint. So this can be tedious. You need to be patient and go slowly, prying off the flex cable. So I'm just going to go to the other side and remove the bracket. This bracket is to hold down your home button. So again, I'm going to use the razor blade, and I will pry up the bracket on the right hand side. So just go slowly and pry off the bracket. Once you have pry off the bracket on the right hand side, you can then move on to the one on the left. So here I'm going to remove the bracket on the left hand side. The glue is very strong, making your home button very steady on the original screen. So just pry them off. Once the bracket come off, you can pry off the plastic on the rubber on your home button. So the ring there, just pry off the black rubber ring that hold down the home button. So once you have removed all the surrounding broken glasses on the home button, we can now remove the IC button right there. So remove the IC for your home button. Be careful that you don't scratch or break anything on this IC unit. So just go slowly and pry off the broken glass, and now lift up the home button. So just peel it off slowly, and that's it. Now we have separated the home button, and we're going to need to use this home button on the new digitizer. Now next we need to clean off the adhesive and the broken glass on the iPad. Now this is the new digitizer. I'm going to lift up the clear plastic film cover right there. Just peel up a little bit so that you have the space to put in your new home button, or the home button that you have just taken out just then. So here I'm going to place in the home button into the home key right there. So align them up properly. Make sure they are well aligned. Just take your time, make sure that the home button sits properly in the right direction. There's no need to rush through this process. I'm just going to peel out a little bit of the plastic on the top of the screen, just so I can feel if the button is properly inserted into the circle or the hole on the glass right there. Once you have properly aligned your home button, we're going to need to glue down the bracket. So here I'm just going to put the flex cable on my left hand side, make sure they're nice and straight, and then lift up the bracket and put some glue on. I'm going to use super glue. They are fast and they are strong, so I'll put it on both sides of the bracket. Do not put too much on, they can spread out once you put down the bracket. So just put a tiny bit, and don't worry about the white flour on my hand, they are just from the glove that I just pull out. So just hold and wait for a few minutes to make sure your glue is dry off before you move on to the next phase. Okay, now we're going to move on to the next phase, and we need to peel back a little bit of this film, the protective film, just so that we can properly set up the digitizer connector. So here you can see I'm going to peel back just a tiny bit, not too much. And here we're going to put down. So this part can be tricky. Just make sure that when you put it down correctly, so that they are well aligned. If they are not aligned correctly, you may need to take it off and then do it again. If you don't do it correctly, you will have issue later on when you are trying to seal off your digitizer. So make sure they are well aligned. Okay, next we're going to peel off this blue protector. This is the protector that is placed onto the adhesive. So I'm just going to peel that off to expose the adhesive underneath. So it's all around your screen, so just go around and peel them off. So I'm just going to peel it off on the side and then the top as well. And then we're going to do the last one. So that's it, that's the last one. So now all the adhesive is exposed. We can now connect the digitizer. There are two cables to connect the digitizer plus one home button. Okay, so that's connected. Now we need to connect the home button cable. So this is the home button cable right there, and I'm going to zoom in so you can see clearly. So you want to insert this connector into that tab right there. So make sure they go all the way in. So just take your time. This is quite small, so just take your time and push it in. Make sure they go all the way in, otherwise your digitizer may not your home button may not work correctly, or your fingerprint. And then push that the plastic tab down to lock it in, and don't forget to place that black adhesive cover. So that sticker right there, just gonna pull off the battery, and then I'm gonna place it over the home button connector, and then just push it down to make sure it is secure. Okay, now next we need to reconnect the LCD. So just push down the metal plate there and reconnect. Make sure they click in. Okay, once you have reconnect, you can place the LCD down onto your iPad. Now you might notice that I haven't put the screw back on because we wanted to make sure that it is working correctly. So I'm going to test it out first before we're going to seal off the digitizer. I'm going to switch on the iPad now. I'm now going to put the digitizer over. Do not close it, just lightly turn over with your hand, hold onto it so that it will not close, and then just give it a test to make sure there is no issue. Make sure everything's working correctly. So move up and down and around the screen, make sure everything works as expected. And then now I'm going to lift the LCD back up, and this time we're going to put in the screw to secure that plate. We don't want the iPad to stop working sometimes in the next few weeks because we forgot to put the screws in and the tab or the metal plate come off, and that just give it a lot of headache. So let's do it now. Put in the 3 screws, make sure they are nice and secure. Okay, so that's done. I'm going to place down the LCD. Next we're going to put the 4 screws in to secure the LCD in place. Now peel off that black plastic or that black sticker and put in the screws. So one on the left hand side and one on the right hand side. Okay, so now the LCD is properly secured with the screws. We're going to use the microfiber and clean off the LCD, remove any dust and any fingerprint that you may have accidentally placed them on. So clean them off, buff them out, go slowly. You can use alcohol wipe to clean them off if you got one. And then now we're going to peel off the screen protector cover on the inside. So peel them off. And then we're going to flip the digitizer over. And then now I'm going to push down on the left hand side first. Do not push down on the right hand side yet. Just on the left hand side you want to push them down because we need to check the cable on the right hand side. So do not immediately push every side down. Just on the left hand side you push it down, and then on your right hand side we're going to double check to make sure all the cables are properly placed in the correct position. Tuck them down if they are not, just so that you're not going to break the cable when you are trying to seal off the digitizer. Okay, so once you have properly seal off the digitizer, you can now use a heat gun to heat up the adhesive, so that will allow the adhesive to stick down to your iPad.